We are live. Welcome, folks. Thank you for joining us for this current installment of the Coaches Connect series. I'm Coach Jeremy, and we have a mix of returning veteran faces, some new folks who jumped in to join us last minute. I appreciate all of you being here. And when solicited for discussions for today, Elizabeth, first time here, bravely raised her hand. You're about a month into your coaching journey, at least with Precision Nutrition. And I believe you had a question regarding how do you get started. Maybe you want to give us a little bit more background info on how you, where you are currently in your coaching journey, and then we can take it from there.
Yep. So yeah, as you said, I just finished my certificate for PN1 last month. And so 2 days ago, I posted on Instagram that I had finished it, and if anybody was looking for, any free 30-minute sessions to reach out. So I actually did my first session this morning, which it was with a friend. Yeah. It was with a friend, but I was still nervous about it. But so it went well, and so I was excited about that. So I've done a couple of coaching sessions with my sister and another friend before I actually completed the course, but that's about where I am in the journey. So just trying to kind of figure out my next steps and where to go, because I'm not currently working in the fitness industry or nutrition
Mhm.
industry. So just trying to figure out kind of how to branch out and how to, well, maybe kind of get over my imposter syndrome a little bit. Because
Fair enough, yeah.
I'm it's kind of questioning, well, who am I to help people? But that's a little bit, I guess, a little bit of background or where I'm at.
That is a fantastic place for us to start for today, and a conversation that I think we have quite frequently in this community. So definitely going to rely on my veteran attendees a little bit more here. So coaches who are in practice already, I see Seathal's hands already up. Uh, Within that first kind of like 30-day span of becoming certified, what are some high priority actions that you would recommend that Elizabeth take and maybe you took yourself, or maybe you wish you had taken? Seathal, you got your hand up.
Hey, Elizabeth. So I think my first question to you would be like, why did you decide to enroll into L1? And I think that would be kind of the starting point of why this is important to you and what your long-term goal, short-term goal is when it comes to nutrition coaching. Even in nutrition coaching and health coaching, there are so many different aspects to it, right? Some of them are nutrition coaches, some of them are exercise coaches, and there's so much of variation. So that would be my first question to you. Like, what attracted you to say, "Hey, this looks like a good certification. Let me start with this."
Yeah. So should I answer that question or just something to think about?
I mean, if you have an answer, if you have even kind of like a rough idea, you don't have to. It feeds into actually one of the points I was going to talk about as well. So something to consider is kind of like that elevator pitch, the summarized version of like, why is it that I do what I do? What are my values kind of as a coach? Who do I help? You can consider all of those elements. But Cecil brings up a good point. Is that something that you've already considered? Do you kind of have that prepared as yet?
Yeah, so I would say I partially have it prepared, because I mean, the reason that I got into it is because I started working with a nutrition coach, and I realized how diet culture had really been ingrained in me, and how I was sick of feeling that certain foods are good, certain foods are bad, you know feeling like every Sunday night I felt I got to get back on track after the weekend. So I started working with a health coach and realized I had a lot of things that I needed to work on. So I know that then kind of gave me the desire to want to learn even more and help other people, because I'm the thought of other and so I'm looking at other people kind of like me, other working
Mhm.
moms who have kids, who have a busy life, and grew up in a time where diet culture was forced down our throats. And I'm if I could help other people learn some of the things that I've learned, like that's what I'm looking to do.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it sounds like this would kind of go under the umbrella of my first action item, which is understanding your story.
Uh,
So you have, it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp of it. There's still some room to continue to refine it. And the good news is it's an ever living kind of document. And so as you gain more experience, either delivering it or professionally, like that's going to continue to evolve. And where it is today will likely look quite different in 1 year from now, and 5 years from now, and 10 years from now.
yes, that makes sense. And that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, so uh, continue to, I think like the next step that pops up for me there would be uh, understanding who does this story appeal to. And this is often referred to as kind of like defining your niche and understanding who are the people that I want to help. And it sounds like you have an idea on that front as well. So people kind of who are like me or who were uh, similar to me or had the same pitfalls as me before I started engaging in health coaching and solicited a coach to help me kind of work through some of those things. So I think really clarifying some of those pain points and understanding like what does that look like? The term like diet culture and how it influences our lives. What are the scenarios that I can most vividly capture in which I notice like, oh, this is really this is really negatively impacting me. You mentioned like the idea of every Sunday I had this feeling that I need to get back on the wagon, like really lean into that more. And how do you make that as kind of as lucid as possible? So it could be like Sunday evening, I would sit down on the couch and I had this feeling of guilt and shame. And it would capture me in kind of like a loop of scrolling Instagram and seeing all this fitness motivation that I felt like I should be aspiring to. And it actually made me feel worse. And then positioning myself as someone who's like, hey, I can help people to navigate those spaces. I don't want you to fall into those same things. And if that resonates with you, maybe I am the coach for you.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense to be more like get even more specific and like, yeah.
Yeah. Are you enrolled in our uh, coaching kick coaching business Kickstarter program by any chance?
No, I'm not.
So, depending on when you signed up, you may have been auto enrolled in it. So, I would encourage you to, when you log into your PN dashboard, there may be a coaching business Kickstarter as like a course in progress or something like that. So, take a look there. If
Okay.
not, I believe there's going to be emails going out for the next round that starts at the end of August. And essentially, we go through all these things. We talk about how to craft a compelling story, how to share that message with folks, what are the avenues in which I can use to share that message. And then we also go into kind of the process of initially coaching. So the first introduction, setting up setting out like your own kind of like standard operating practice. Like when do I bill people? What software do I use to bill people? How do I collect payment? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to go through all of those things. It sounds like you're actually kind of a great candidate for it. But if I were to give you a preview of what I think is really valuable to work on there, it is really developing your story. As
Okay.
we are storytelling apes, and people really resonate with a story that they can find familiarity in. It's like, yes, that is me. Like I am that person. I have been that person. And the more detail you can put into it, the more you'll kind of capture specific people.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know when like my health coach posts stuff that when she is very specific and talks about things that, are going on, yeah, it's like you can relate and it makes you feel more connected and everything. So that makes sense.
Yep. So that may be then kind of one of those initial steps. Uh, Coaches, I have a list of like 3 or 4 things here that I think are highly important at the head within kind of the first 30 days. Anything else pop up for folks here? Seethal, what do you got?
Sorry, I'm cooking, so it's really noisy.
Nah, you're
uh,
cooking. Keep going.
um, but what I heard you say was the word imposter syndrome, right? And we can, of course, the story creates a very good foundation for us. And we can use imposter syndrome as a way to support us to learn more things, but not to let it convert into fear. of us stopping ourselves from moving forward. So it is how we look at imposter syndrome. That's kind of what my perspective is. Like, yes, we are starting a journey, so we have lots of things to learn, and that will always be the case. We will always keep learning different things. Um, but how do we see imposter syndrome, and do we see it from a light of, okay, that is pushing me to learn more things and gain more knowledge? Or is that creating more fear and not letting me do anything?
Ooh.
So I think choosing the right perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, that I feel like resonates a lot, because I feel like it's like if you just think about it with any other thing, how you look at something either a positive or a negative of like I have to work out or I get to work out, like can be a big game changer on how you then proceed. So, well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Just on the point of imposter syndrome, uh, a few perspectives that I feel like have been quite helpful for me personally, and things that I've shared with other coaches in this call and in other avenues. Things like the idea around not positioning yourself as an expert, I think tends to be quite helpful, especially after we've gone through a process of certification and gathered a lot of information. It feels like my job is now to carry that certification textbook in my head at any given moment. And if someone on the subway stops me and asks me, like, hey, how many grams of carbohydrates are in this food? It's like, I should have the answer, right? I'm an expert in nutrition. That's what I'm billing myself as. So, uh, I would encourage you to move away from that kind of expert label and instead ask yourself, what services do I actually offer to people, and get greater clarity about those things. So we talked about that a little bit in our last call last week, so feel free to watch, to go into the archives on YouTube and find that one again. But
Okay.
understanding that it's like, you as a coach don't need to know all the things about nutrition. What are the things that I do need to be able to do to provide an effective service for my client? I need to be able to hold space for them. I need to be able to ask effective questions to get them to reflect on their own experience. I need to help them build awareness of current patterns so that we can collaboratively come up with new solutions to potentially changing those patterns, or at least changing how they view those patterns. These are all things that I can do that don't require me to have highly specified knowledge or a PhD in a specific field in order to be very effective.
Okay, those are all good points. I'm like writing all the things down.
By all means, please.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Okay.
one that kind of sits at the front of my mind whenever I'm working with a new client, especially clients where they have specific knowledge in a field that may be relevant to the task at hand. So if I'm working with an athlete in a discipline that I've never like participated, like I remember the first time working with an ultra marathon runner. Like, this is not my wheelhouse at all. I've never ran an ultra marathon. I've never really expressed interest in running ultra marathons. I've read some literature for just like kicks because it came across my desk from a researcher that I just happened to follow, and they were looking at a new study that popped up for them, but it's like very surface level. There's no way that I'm billing myself as I am a coach for ultra marathon runners. But this person resonated with some of the messaging they saw from me. Uh, they had heard me speak a couple times, and they're like, "Yeah, I think you'd be a great coach for me. I think we'd be a good fit." And what I had to remind myself there is, I do not need to be the expert in all of the stuff for that field. I don't even need to be the expert on this person. They will provide all the information required for us to move forward if we ask the right questions and I just sit back and listen.
Uh-huh. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So hopefully with the people that you're beginning to work with, that feeling of imposter syndrome creeps up a lot, especially early on. The way that we defeat it is by actively engaging in the thing that we feel like we are ill equipped to do,
Uh-huh.
and remembering that, oh, the more that I do this thing, the better that I get at it. The more I engage with my clients, practice or professional, I will build more of these skills. My job right now is to kind of identify what I do well, and where I need to add some more focus. And a lot of it is like not highly specified information. It's mostly, hey, can I just show up and keep my mouth shut a little bit and allow them to speak? At least I know that was my mistake early on. I was like, I got to teach them all the things. I learned this cool fact 2 days ago, and I need to present it to them in a way that makes sense so they can use it right now. So they can find it as fun as I did. But that's typically not super helpful.
Okay, that all makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I mean, collecting your story or refining your story, setting some goals is something that Seethal mentioned as well, and understanding like what would constitute kind of success for me at this early stage of my career.
Mm.
Do you have any idea of what that would look like for you right now?
I don't know, because when she did say that, I was like, ooh, like, because I guess it's hard because I think I'm probably thinking maybe too long term right now. Because I'm like, okay, well, am I gonna just like try and work for myself? Am I gonna try and work for somebody else? But like,
Mhm.
those things probably aren't happening this week or next week. So I think probably trying to just talk to more people and like just get more information, or even just kind of like interacting in like the Facebook group even more, just to get kind
Mhm.
of more comfortable if somebody asks a question like, okay, how would I, look at this, or how would I give my advice? Just, yeah, having
Yeah,
more
that
conversations.
that is fantastic. And I mean, we as coaches know that how to identify it as a valuable goal, as it's something that you have a great deal of control over. And it kind of leans into uh, the final item that I would leave you with for today, which is letting more people know that this is a service that you are offering. So continuing to have that conversation, continuing to post online, continuing to when in conversation with folks and hey, what are you working on or what are you up to these days? That opening pops up, letting them know there. And every opportunity that you have to have that discussion is another rep that you get to have. And you get to continue to refine and find greater comfort in sharing that thing.
Okay. Yes, and that's good because I feel like in the past I haven't necessarily always told people I was working on it because I was like felt like I'm like, oh, that's gonna keep me more accountable, and it like it feels scary to like
Yeah,
put it out there. But like, yes, that is yes, that's what I need to do, which I've been trying to do that a little bit more lately. So okay, I will continue with that. I agree.
fantastic. Coaches who are listening in here, anything else that you would add is valuable actions within that first 30 days of finishing your certification? Tony.
I would say kudos to you. Great job. Just get out there and do it. You're doing it. A lot of people just freeze and don't take action, and you're taking action. So you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna take some bumps, some bruises. It's all along the journey. And if you really want to do this, then you'll stick to it. But kudos to you.
Thank you.
What do you got, Vicky?
So, Kate Solo had a great podcast last week. I don't know if you caught it. Um, I was trying to find the link to put in the chat. And I couldn't find it, but it was a podcast that where someone interviewed her, and she talked very much about all of this, like the three stools of being a coach, and one being the coaching, one being the selling, one being the logistics, but just really good ideas about how to get started. And maybe I can put it in the Facebook group or tag someone if it's not. Is anyone on the call listen to it or?
Are you talking
No.
about the one with Mike Milner?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. I'm trying to remember the name of the podcast. I'll see if I can find it as well. Maybe I
Yeah.
can DM Kate a little bit later. But
It's
in
it's the one where he's talking to coaches specifically, because he has one where it's more just general nutrition, that kind of thing, and it's one where the second one he did with her where they're actually talking about coaching. Yeah.
Okay,
let
and
me
you
I
said
see if I can find that real quick.
okay. I was gonna say you said Mike Milner.
Yes. His podcast is called Mind Over Macros.
yes.
So if you find that podcast, and probably I would assume it's probably the last two episodes where he spoke with Kate. Uh, so should be able to find them there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it just a reminder to me, like that thing about telling more people that you mentioned, telling more people that what you actually do, and
Uh-huh.
like not waiting
Yeah.
till you're done, like even because I just went through L2 too and told no one. It's like, okay, Vicky, you should have been telling while you were doing it, that kind of thing. So yeah, just good reminder, but especially for someone starting out. Do as I
Okay,
say,
great.
not as I do, because I don't do it enough.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Hi, this is Maureen. I wanted to ask a question. Like, I'm very new to this, so just starting your
Uh,
courses.
yep. Hold on, Maureen. Just give us 1 second. Uh,
Okay.
Elizabeth, I want to go back to you for a second. We've given you about like two or three kind of like bucket list items here to fill. Does that give you some direction for the next for some next steps you can take?
Yes, I feel like this was like so helpful. I feel good. I feel very good. So this was very helpful.
Awesome. Then I mean, request for you would be, you mentioned I want to pop into like the Facebook community a little bit more to uh, to see if I can answer some questions, put on my coach hat a little bit, take some of those questions as though I was responding to a client. While you're in that Facebook community, if you want to let folks know, hey, I popped into the Coaches Connect call on a whim. Here's what we talked about, and I
Uh-huh.
found it very useful. Feel free to throw up that post as well, and hopefully we can get another Elizabeth type person, someone who is in the early stages, and maybe they'll come out and seek some advice themselves.
Yes.
And then maybe you can also pop in and contribute your wisdom that you've gained from here too.
Uh-huh. That sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Maureen, before we come to you, Jackie was in line first, and Jackie had a question. Jackie, do you want to kind of preview that question for the folks who are just joining us?
Yeah, definitely. So, I went to a doctor's appointment to do a meet and greet with a concierge doctor last week, to be a prospective client, which I'm going to be. And when she found out during the conversation what I do, her eyes kind of lit up and she's like, "Oh, bring your business cards. I have people who need someone like you." I'm like, okay, fantastic. So I want to set up like a coffee chat with her to learn kind of about what her patients need and how this can be a fruitful relationship for the two of us and not be like, give me clients, and how to help her practice as well. So I was kind of just wondering, because I don't know any other health coaches. I know that this is a thing that health coaches do, because I've been doing some Google research, but I don't know any personally who do this right now. So I was hoping for any experience or resources or to kind of go into this meeting prepared and things. So
That is a great question. I have some experience in this with this particular scenario, but I'm curious to know, coaches, does anyone here have a professional relationship with a referral partner who is specifically in the medical field? So either a doctor, psychiatrist, physiotherapist, athletic therapist, massage therapist, someone in that world where they refer their patients to you to become clients. Cool. So maybe slim on experience here for this call, but I have something similar to that with both a doctor and a physio. But I'm curious to know, sorry, Jackie, uh, you mentioned previously, like before we hit record, you're saying like I want to come in prepared here. Are there specific items that you want to prepare for this conversation, or anything that you have a question about from a practicing standpoint? Let's say like this relationship goes forward and is already established.
well, I know because I'm in the US, so I know that HIPAA and privacy and everything is
Mhm.
probably going to be a consideration, which I believe ProCoach is not HIPAA compliant, right? Or not like designated as HIPAA.
Right. So this was the question I was hoping you were going to ask, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
So in terms of insurance and confidentiality, those are two things that I think are worth considering in this conversation. So for HIPAA compliance and confidentiality purposes, you need a piece of software that is HIPAA compliant if you are gathering sensitive data.
Okay.
So if you are using, like if you are operating your business in a way that's like, I'm not actually providing medical coverage to this person. I'm giving them general lifestyle and health-based coaching like I would in any other setting, then you don't need HIPAA compliance because you wouldn't be gathering that highly specific information and storing it on a system or a server. I believe, and this is something detail-wise that you would want to check with our client care team, which is ProCoach is Pipetta compliant, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of the Canadian version of, but I would definitely double check that. So again, it really matters what kind of coaching are you doing in that scenario? Is it going to be significantly different than what you offer clients who come from other avenues? If yes, then you will need specific software. If no, then you can probably use any software that meets your coaching needs.
Okay, cool. I don't have any kind of like nursing degree or anything, so I don't do anything that like kind of crosses that gray area zone into like medical nutrition therapy. So
Right.
keeping in the scope of practice, then something like ProCoach that's not, I have to check with client care, but say it's not HIPAA compliant, then it probably would be fine. I have insurance as well, because I've got an LLC and everything, so I've got that all taken care of, like the structure of the business separately, so I'm protected that way from the legal standpoint, so that's good. Yeah, so I don't know, is there any other kind of resources or considerations or anything that I should kind of look at?
Yeah, so I mean, storing confidential information, you are an insured professional. The other thing I think that I was mostly alluding to here, aside from your own liability insurance as a provider, is a question that comes up commonly here is, if I send my patients to you, how do they bill to you? Do they bill through their insurance? Can you accept payments from them, from their insurer? It sounds like you're going through level 2 right now, and you're sitting for the boards, or you've already sat for the boards
I'm
for the
done level 2.
NBHWC.
I'm done level 2, just trying to get enough of the coaching sessions. I've got a couple more to log, and then I'll be able to, the application window opens soon for the November exam window. So I should be able to meet that, and fingers crossed, everything goes well and I pass it, then that would be great. I know that there is an insurance code currently, and but that it's not that widely accepted. I have to
Right,
dig with the current, like, because it's been a while since I did the last research of where that all sits, because I know that the MBHWC has been working on getting a better code and stuff, and it's kind of always evolving.
right,
Yeah, but for billing right now with my own clients, I use Stripe, so it's
right.
just stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So then that is a or a question that you're going to want to be able to answer in that setting, and it sounds like the answer right now is can't use insurance right now, but I'm currently working towards a pathway to make insurance payments more easily accessible to a broader range of people, which is cool. I think most doctors would be okay with that. It
Yeah.
also sounds like uh, this professional is pretty excited because of the service that you described that you offer. So again, I would just be quite clear in terms of, this is what I offer and this is who it is most beneficial for. So as Elizabeth was mentioning, we were talking a little bit about alluding to the idea of like niche, who do I help, who am I best capable of serving. If this doctor was asking you that question, how do you feel like you would be able to respond? Do you have a response already ready to go for that?
Pretty good. I mean, currently I help women generally over 40 help with weight loss. You know, they have had some weight accumulate that they're not happy with. Maybe symptoms of menopause are starting to set in, and they want to figure out a way to make it applicable and doable to their life. They're done with fat dieting and the gimmicks and all of that stuff. They've done that. And to show them how to break it down in a doable, sustainable, lasting way that fits their real life and doesn't just kind of take over their life.
Fantastic. And I mean, I think that, like, what is the overlap between the population that you serve and the population that this physician sees? So if, like, let's say they're a female health specialist, and that is like 100% of the people that they see are what you also serve, like, that is a great fit for that professional. For folks who are listening here and you're considering maybe having a similar relationship with another professional that you already have within your network, and maybe you see them as a patient, maybe you know them as a friend, you have like a professional working relationship with them or something like that, when approaching that professional, understanding and making it as clear and easy for them to be like, what does the referral pathway look like for you? So if, like, I'm working with that doctor that Jackie's working with and they're trying to send me Jackie type clients, like, could go great, could go terrible. But I want them to know very clearly, like, oh, I read the chart for this person. I've met them for initial consult, uh, and immediately they ring true as a Jackie client or a Jeremy client. I don't want them to just send me every single person that comes through their door, because personally, I'm not equipped to help all of those people. It needs to be really clear who it is that I am best equipped to help. And just like when they are deciding on what medication does this person need, it should be quite similar. And it's like, they hit this criteria, they are people who would likely benefit from coaching services. Uh, I can also, yeah, speaking from experience, where having the professional recommend your services, it is, aside from like a friend referring, it's probably the closest thing that you will have where people will actually reach out.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the best avenues that you can have as a health professional, is having another healthcare provider hand over your card or share your name or your contact info. Incredibly useful.
There is that like kind of higher authority sort of like, thing with the doctor title, that people are more likely to listen, and being the people who are going to a concierge doctor and making that investment and initiative and step in their health, they're more likely to be, as far as like the spectrum of not interested at all and highly interested, closer to interested, going to take action, and willing to invest, even if insurance doesn't cover it, finances to go and do these things. So
100%. Yeah, so I mean, I think the three most valuable things for this conversation would be knowing what it is in terms of systems that you need to have in place. Can you have those in place before the conversation, or at least get clarity from the conversation in terms of, oh, I need to upgrade my systems. Knowing how payments will work, so that when the doctor does give the recommendation, they can say they take insurance, they don't take insurance, here's their payments, here's what it looks like. And then also included in payments, also having kind of those fine-tuned details of what am I actually paying for. It's like weekly phone call, bi-weekly chat support, all of the things that you can detail, so that very clear for them to also share that information. And speaking of sharing information, you may want to capture this in some sort of like a PDF or like a poster type format that you can share with them, so that they don't have to keep this stuff top of mind. It's just at the front desk and they can take a look from there. And then also knowing who are the people specifically that I want you to share that information with, because not everyone who comes into your office is a great fit for me, but the ones who are, I definitely want you to keep me top of mind for those people.
Yes.
Yeah, those are, I think, the things that come to my mind when I consider this conversation. I would encourage more folks, like, you probably have some of these people in your lives already. Maybe they're a second degree connection and they're like a friend of a friend, but reaching out to form those relationships, even if it's like, hey, I'm comfortable offering my services as like a demo to you, so you better understand what it is I do, because depending on how you operate, it might not always be clear. Like the doctor that I have a relationship with, I coached him for several months before he started sending me people. And the thing that resonated with him was not initially what I would have thought. Like, I would have thought he would have sent me people because his body was transforming and he was getting stronger and he was dropping belly fat. And like, great. Clearly, I'm the person that, if you have patients who need those things, like, send them to me. But it was because of our conversations and the avoidance of talking about kind of dieting and not being super focused on body weight. He was like, that's what actually a lot of my patients would benefit from. It's more of the mindful approach that aligned with his way of practicing medicine. That's what he wanted me to share with his clients as well. So there was good overlap between what he was trying to achieve and what I was trying to achieve. There was one other thing that you mentioned there as well, which was kind of having like a cross referral system. This may be, so in Canada, our doctors are busy as hell, especially if they're like a family physician or a general practitioner in their own practice. Most of them, their client
I'm
or patient
Canadian,
rosters
but I
are.
live in the States now, so I'm familiar with the system.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a medical system where like that, where it's like pretty highly strained, we'll call it, the idea of bringing people to them is often not that useful to bring in conversation. In that situation, those physicians are typically looking for, I want a way of helping these people that reduces the actual amount of face time that I have to put forward.
Yeah.
Because I can't see this person once a week like you can. I want to see them like once every 6 months, but in between, I want them to have touch points of support.
Yes, for sure. More in making it mutually beneficial. That's kind of more what I meant than a cross referral basis.
Right.
Because while I don't want to show up as a demand of like, give me clients, I want to show up as a resource, to help them with retaining their clients in this program year over year,
Right.
getting their clients better results, making sure that their clients are more happy, and these kinds of and also taking that workload off of their shoulders and worrying about the
Right.
lifestyle follow-up. Because with the concierge medicine, like you have the doctor's cell phone, so you can phone them anytime. So hopefully that would help her also not have so many like kind of low-level phone calls, and she can focus
Right.
on complicated cases. So
You act as a filter there and say,
yeah.
hey, this is maybe something that we can discuss and we can handle between us, or hey, you know what, actually this is the appropriate time to make that phone call and utilize the service a little bit more, and then I'll be there to support you after that phone call.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my other kind of question was, as far as like putting together a package and an offer and stuff, I'm not really sure how to price something like this. Like any direction that you can point me in that way?
I mean, for this one, I tend to look at allied services that are akin to like kind of what we provide. Like if you were to go and sit down with another health professional for this amount of time, let's say an hour at a physiotherapist costs like $130. Using those kinds of touch points as like, this gives me a range of what people are paying for health, kind of like those secondary healthcare services. Those like obviously not emergency care or anything like that, or primary physician, but what would people pay if it was like, this is something that's annoying me, but I can live with,
Yeah.
and I actually now I want to get it taken care of. It gives you some sort of referral point where uh, we have kind of that touch of reality here. Where it's like, yeah, if they were to go to a different service that hit some of the same things I did, what would be the cost there? I would start with that and then just make sure that your hourly rate is like comparable to those things, and it's something that you feel comfortable, both
Right.
not too high, not too low.
Yeah.
So it's like, can I make a living off this thing? Especially if it's going to be your full hourly workload per week.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for that question.
Sure.
Maureen, you had a question as well.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering, like, I'm just totally new to this, right? I'm just starting my level 1. I'm still in the process of figuring out where to go and what to do. So I find like, to me, some of these information I'm getting here is kind of a little bit beyond where I'm at.
Fair.
I'm not sure if I was supposed to be in this team, but I guess I did register for it, so that's why I'm here. But I'm learning some new things about what to do, where to go. But I'm still not finished level 1 yet. I'm probably in chapter 10 or something like that. So
Gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, you are more than welcome to attend this meeting. This is for students as well as graduated professionals already, people who are kind of in between starting, finished the student phase and now moving to the professional phase. So you're more than welcome to be here. If you have a question, this is a great place to get it answered. If it is related to your studies, I can point you in the right direction. If it's something related to chapter exams, then I can also point you towards our client care team, and they'll help you with anything on that front.
yeah, the exams are going pretty good so far. I was just thinking about like getting started because I don't know if you can start try to coach when you're in the middle of just level 1, right?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of when can I begin coaching people and gathering coaching experience, uh, from an ethical coaching perspective, there's a few layers here. So one, if I was on chapter 1 of my certification, uh, probably doesn't make sense for me to bill myself as a nutrition coach or a PN certified coach because I am not currently certified. What you can say is, I am currently enrolled in this certification to become a coach. If someone wants to work with you at that point, that's perfectly fine. You can do it for free, you can charge them a fee. In that case, you are being very clear about here's what my current scope is, here's where my knowledge kind of exists at this time. If that fits and that makes sense for you and you still want to work with me, great. If you're not ready to work with me yet, continue to follow along as I share more information about what I'm learning, start those conversations, and then get to planting the seed within people's heads that Maureen is a developing professional into a fully fledged professional.
Okay. So like if you have family members and stuff, you could start there?
You can if you want to.
Right.
The only thing that ethically you cannot do is say, I am a PN certified coach because you're not certified.
Yeah, I do understand that. So, okay, so
Yeah.
those are most of the things I was looking for. And can you send me where I could get more information about that Pro Coach? Because Pro Coach is a software, right?
Correct. So you can start your Pro Coach trial at any point. So when you log into your PN dashboard, if you click on the Pro Coach button, it will open that profile or it'll open up that tab that says like start my free trial. And then you get 30 days to explore the system. You can add clients to it. You can add yourself as a test client and then see how it operates. I would normally suggest for folks when you are in about unit 3. So depending on what the pace you're going through, if you're finishing one chapter every like 1 to 2 weeks, then from there, by the time you get to unit 3, you should be kind of in like the last 30 days of your certification, roughly. And you can start to explore what the system would be like. Pro Coach is very much built on the concepts that you're learning throughout your certification. So you'll start to see terms like the check-in process or kickoff and a 6-stage coaching cycle. So I wouldn't use them just yet, but as you go through that final unit, you start to get more familiar with the coaching flow of how to conduct a coaching session. That's when I would say, okay, fire up Pro Coach, see how things work in actual practice, and then you can start to bring on some practice clients as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly start earlier. You can start today if you really want to. But if we're going from the standpoint of, I want to finish that trial and move directly into continuing to use Pro Coach as my platform, then I would encourage you to kind of wait till you're closer to the end of the certification so that more of the Pro Coach platform feels familiar to you, because some of the terminology is plucked directly from L1. And while you may have gotten some exposure to it in the earlier units, it becomes a little bit more clear when you have some of those concepts nailed down.
All right, I'll look at it that way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Enzo, you got your hand up.
Yes, Jeremy, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome. Yes, a quick couple questions for you. I'm in the process right now of getting my first couple clients and doing my first session, so I have a couple questions on that. My first question is, I know last time I was on the call, you talked about a discovery call. Is a discovery call the same as like the sales call, kind of the first initial call before they become your clients? Is that what the discovery call is?
Exactly, yeah. So the discovery call is just, it tends to be less formal. You can charge for it if you want to, or you can offer it for free. That's totally up to you. But the goal typically of the discovery call is to meet this person and qualify them as an appropriate client for you, as well as explaining your services and how they would integrate with what that person is looking for.
Got it. Got it. Is there a process? I don't remember if I saw anything in the textbook about kind of like a sales process where you go and they become your clients.
I don't think so. So are you asking kind of like what is the framework of a discovery call?
Yeah, kind of going from that discovery, getting those questions, and then invite them in to be one of your clients.
Cool.
Is there a
Yeah,
process?
so I don't know if there's one that we kind of detailed very clearly, but it may be something that's covered in Coaching Business Kickstarter. I'm happy to give you kind of like a rough overview of what it looks like personally for me. So
Okay.
discovery call, I normally schedule for 30 minutes, but I block off a full hour so that if the conversation goes beyond 30 minutes, I don't have to rush this person off.
Okay.
The point of the discovery call, aside from qualifying the person as an appropriate client, is also to build connection. So imagine a conversation where everything feels rigid and robotic, and I just ask you like a series of yes, no questions, like we're checking a box. That's not helping to build a relationship, but a conversation where I ask you an open-ended question and then allow you to elaborate and share information with me, then I affirm uh, those responses and let you know that, hey, thank you for sharing that with me. You're already starting to build our relationship. And then I share more information with you. Honestly, kind of resembles a first date a little bit, or at least a good first date, hopefully. Uh, and that is a large part of that conversation. So it starts with initial kind of greeting, asking open-ended questions. Typically, I'll ask like, hey, what have you tried in the past? How did you decide to reach out and contact me? Uh, in terms of like what you need to move forward, what kind of support do you need from me? What is it that you require from coaching? Those are the open-ended questions that I ask the most frequently. And then there's more detailed things in terms of like medical history, training history, dietary history, that kind of stuff. Uh, Important, but not as conducive to kind of sprawling conversation. Uh, from a time frame perspective, it's like probably 1 to 2 minutes, kind of legit. It's like cordial, hello, how's it going? How's the weather doing? Uh, Open-ended questions probably span like 20 to 25 minutes there. The last 5 minutes are very much where it's like, hey, here's the structure of my business. We meet this many times. This is what support looks like. This is what you can expect in between those meetings. This is what I expect from you in between those meetings. And then this is how much I charge and how I collect payment. Those are like the fine details that are right at the end. But the vast majority of the conversation is tell me more about yourself. And then I will share details with you about how I practice and what my beliefs are as a coach as it's appropriate. But I very much want them to lead the conversation.
Makes sense. On that note, when you're talking about, I know that there's initial assessment, initial triage questionnaire. You recommend that to do that before this discovery session or before their first actual session once they become a client? I ask that because in that sheet on top it says, this is a sheet to get us know you better and see if you're a good fit. So what do you recommend on that initial assessment? When should that be given?
So there's probably no right or wrong answer on this one. You can certainly share it as they reach out to you. Like if they email, hey, I'm interested in coaching with you. I want to know a little bit more information. You can ask them to fill that out and then book a time and date with you. Nothing wrong with it. I personally find that it adds us a little bit of a barrier. And instead I just go, hey, most of the information that I need to know, we're going to learn as we continue our conversation. So it's more important for me to book the conversation first, and then I'll ask them any of those questions and send any additional forms to fill out once they've already agreed to coaching.
Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. And in terms when I'm about to get their like assessments of their measurements, I was noticing in the book there's many different types of assessments, measurements, body weight, body fats, lab tests. How do I know what are the things that I need to measure? Since there's a huge list in there.
So you need to measure the things that are relevant to your client. So if they're coming to you and they're like, hey, I just did blood work with my doctor, and then these markers indicated that I have some health issues that can be improved with health coaching, then you need to have a baseline of those things, but they won't really impact your coaching to a significant degree. It's like, cool, we have these measurements. Uh, what is the timeline in which we expect to see relative change here? Probably like for most blood work related things, we're looking closer to the month and year span as opposed to like in the next 10 days, I expect to see major change here. So you did those blood tests about a week ago. it'll likely be about 3 to 6 months before we can schedule a retest. Let's just have those in our back pocket. We know the things that are most likely to impact positive results on those things. That's what we're going to work on. Do we need additional data there? Only as it's confirming that we're on the right path. So it might be helpful to take body weight measurements and body fat measurements if we're working on things where it's like cardiometabolic health is at play here. Does that make sense?
Correct. So, I mean, in general, with all your clients, if they have not done a blood test, is that a process that you tell them, this is my recommendation, do a blood test first to see how you're on those levels, or you don't?
Typically not. I want to use as easy access information as we can get. So if they're like, my health is a mess, it's like, well, I'm not sleeping well, I'm not eating well, I'm pretty sedentary, and I've gained a significant amount of body fat in the last year. It's like, yeah, probably blood tests would confirm some of those things, but you already know it. I don't need more information, and there's no additional for you to spend time and money to confirm the thing you already know is not super helpful to us. It's not a barrier to further practice.
So just focus on the things that are relevant, I guess, more than anything.
Exactly. And I mean, yeah, if we need to see that information, we can always ask them to gather it later. But is it a barrier for us to begin right now? If they don't believe that it is, and you feel like I can effectively coach this person without gathering that information right now, I wouldn't encourage you to create it as like a roadblock to that next step for them.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate your answers.
Yeah, no worries. Jui, we have a few minutes left. Do you have a question still?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I'm at level 1, 14th chapter, and so I was wondering if coaching hours can be used for level 2 practicum.
Coaching
Like
hours.
If I do nutrition coaching, can that be used for level 2 practicum?
So that's a question that I would encourage you to ask our client care team. I assume so. If you are engaged in coaching others, I'm not sure of what specifically the parameters are for L2. So I would encourage you to reach out to our client care team. They'll probably forward the question to Coach Tony, and then she'll get a response back to you.
Okay, and the insurance, I also teach Tai Chi, and the insurance I use for Tai Chi, can I use it for coaching also?
I would not expect so. I would think that you would need a specific insurance coverage for a different skill set.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like you'll need to speak with your insurance provider and ask like, what are the activities that I'm covered for?
Okay. And is there any recommendation like you have, like, because it took me some time to get to the chapter 14 and I'm trying to finish it faster, but I feel like I don't remember the previous ones. So is there any quick like reviews of the facts or videos that you can suggest?
I mean, keep in mind that your goal as you're going through the chapters is not to memorize the chapter. The goal is to be able to access that information when needed. So
Yeah.
if you are able to say, okay, if I don't know the answer to this in the moment when I'm coaching someone, can I comfortably say, I don't know, or I don't have an answer for you right now, but I know where to look and I can find that information for you. If that's something you feel like you can comfortably say within your coaching practice in the context of the questions that you're being asked, then I would encourage you to start to move towards the practice questions and then write the exam.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
I believe chapter 14 is probably one of like the most factually dense chapters that we have.
Oh, really?
It's been a while since I've looked at it. I think, is that the one that has like micro and macro or micronutrients and vitamins or minerals and vitamins? Sorry.
I think I was stuck for a long time on chapter 9 and then I haven't started 14 yet. But
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you feel like you are gathering like the core concepts, you're able to refer back to them as needed. And in conversation, you feel like I'm capable of having these conversations in a way that I feel is providing value to my client, then you don't need to have each paragraph and each heading memorized.
Okay. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
You're welcome. Cool. We are at time for today. I think this is a good place to end off for today. Folks in the chat, I am super sorry because I did not keep up with that chat box. Folks who have been jumping in to answer questions, appreciate you greatly. If there's something that didn't get answered today and you need an answer for it, please go into the Facebook community and post your question there. Happy to answer there. Feel free to tag me or Coach Kate, or wait for our community to answer those things. And then we will see you again next week. Cheers, gang.
Thank you.
Thank you.